again. I dare you. I double dare you, mother.
Get busy living. You get busy dying.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
You're gonna need a bigger boat. And here we go.
All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Cinema Cult Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Maloof. With me, as always, my co-host, Dante Trowina. And Dante, we have a very, very special guest on this episode here. We have writer, director, and actor Mitchell Cole joining us. Mitchell, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
Mitchell, we wanted you on to talk about two of your movies that released in 2025. The first was Against the Spread, a movie that you wrote, directed, and starred in. And the second is It Ends, a movie that you acted in and that premiered at South by Southwest the past year. That movie's gotten a lot of buzz recently. And like we just discussed, I saw was it the premiere of Against the Spread at St. Augustine? Was that the first time you'd shown it?
No, it wasn't the premiere, but it was like early screening.
Okay. Well, I saw, I was lucky enough to catch that movie in St. Augustine Film Festival last year. We met, talked a little bit, asked you a couple of questions, and now we're finally able to get you on the pod. So great to have you here. I think we wanted to start with Against the Spread because that is the movie that you wrote, directed, and acted in. First, just wanted to talk about kind of the distribution of the movie a little bit. It has played a lot recently over the past year or so at some different film festivals. Now it's out on Amazon Prime. You can rent it on iTunes. You even have a Blu-ray out. So I kind of wanted to ask you about that process as an independent filmmaker of getting that movie distributed as widely as it has.
So a lot of that's out of my hands. You know what I mean? I was lucky enough to connect with Nick Stagliano, who was the executive producer from the film, and he kind of had all those connections that put everything in place and had a lot. He was basically our sales agent going out to all these markets and trying to get somebody to pick the film up. And he ended up linking us up with Jackrabbit Media, who are the ones that have taken care of the entire distribution process.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't even know we were getting Blu-rays. It's funny you say that because I was like the first thing I had to buy my own Blu-ray. It sucks. I didn't get one.
Oh, that's sweet.
But I went on there and bought one as soon as I found out. So that was pretty.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate that. We're people that love physical media. As you can see my background here, I've got I love Blu-ray. So I like that independent filmmakers like you are thinking about that kind of thing, keeping it alive, even if it wasn't maybe coming straight from you. The fact that your movie is out on Blu-ray, a small indie release like that, gives me some hope.
Oh, dude, no, that was we wanted it the whole time. But like, I mean, who are we to ask? So anyways, like I say, it was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
I think it was cool when Cody brought up to me that's on Amazon Prime too. He's like, "Oh, it's just on Prime." And then I went on, I saw the poster. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's just it's fun that it's easy to access at this point too." Because I think you hear about debut films or debut features. It's like, okay, they'll send you a zip drive, or you'll have to email them and get the file and this and that. And it's like, no, just pop on Prime, dude. And so got on, watch with free ads, but luckily no ad placement during the movie. So I think you'd be happy to hear about that. It was all before the movie. So I got to sit through the whole thing. I was ecstatic. No cuts away from tense scenes. So I got the whole experience going all the way through. From the start, I think I was excited because I like the poster. The poster looks great. You start with one of my favorite tropes, which is talking over kind of the opening credits. The movie's already rolling by the time we get to it. I'm always interested in like the anatomy of making a film or writing a film. And I just wanted to talk about your story. Like, does that start to you with like a scene, a character, a feeling? Where did you kind of get the idea for Against the Spread?
Well, with this one, I always say it was my first feature film, and I'd written shorts up to this point, but never had I'd like written a feature that got picked up or made. So I wanted to make sure that the story worked, and I know I wanted to make something fun, but that could also, at its core, be like a serious story that someone could take a lesson from. And I kind of cheated with this one, man. I just went to the public domain and pulled out a Shakespeare, and it was like one of the ones that I haven't heard a lot about. You know what I mean? So I was okay. It's kind of fresh. So there's that, but like I say, before that, it was like we knew what we were set out to make, and it's something fun. And when I read the synopsis or kind of the clip notes for Merchant of Venice, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it, man.
It fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I feel like I'm semi-familiar with Shakespeare. Like, obviously, the big stuff we all know, we studied it in school. But I'd never heard of The Merchant of Venice. So when I saw that in the credits, um, did a little bit of digging on kind of like where you might have been pulling from, and it's you can see where the inspirations came from for sure. Some of the character names and some of the plot elements and themes and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think that's really interesting. It's a Shakespeare play that, like you said, I don't think a lot of people have heard of before.
Right. Yeah. And it's like once you kind of dig into it, you kind of realize how much of an impact it actually has on like everyday vocabulary. Like you hear something, you're like, oh, I've heard that before. That's where that originated from, you know? So yeah, I don't know why that's not one of the ones that are talked about because it was pretty entertaining.
Do you think you could tell us a little bit about the maybe real life inspirations? I feel like all filmmakers are pulling some things from their real life, and all these characters in Against the Spread feel very real. I think that's maybe part of the casting as well. But are any of these guys based on people you maybe knew, grew up with in Florida?
Well, if you look at the end of the movie, there's the credits where everything is entirely fictional and there's no real life correlation to anything you see in the film. But yeah, I know some people in this area that are kind of like those characters. My grandpa, he was a big inspiration for the Anthony character, you know, with the gambling. That was him when he was still alive. Um, so yeah, you had that, and then one of our biggest goals, I think it was like the second biggest goal we had, like it was all over our pitch deck before we made the film, but it was we wanted to make something authentic. So I mean, everything that you see was, you know, derived from something that I had seen it at one point or grew up around in the South. So that's something we really pride ourselves on. We want to make a really authentic Southern film. You see like a lot of Southern films get made, and then you know it's like clearly some guy from LA went and stayed in Baton Rouge or something for a week and wrote a screenplay while he was there and he went back. But I wanted this to feel like, oh yeah, whoever made this grew up in this world that they're telling a story about.
We're both from Southeast Alaska, so we have plenty of History Channel shows and movies or this and that. Insomnia is a big one of the early Christopher Nolan films. It's like, yeah, you read a book about Alaska, or yeah, you watched
That's
a 30
exactly
minute
right.
History Channel
Mhm.
show. So I think we both kind of resonate and appreciate that of like putting on for your area in that way is something special that you get to do through your art. Um, Cody was just talking about the characters, and I agree. Like every character was really distinguishable from the start and natural. Like you felt like you found them all in their own environments, which is fun. I'm sure for you writing the story. Do you have a favorite character? I think Lorenzo to me is in his own universe half the time until he's not. He's having a great time for the whole first half of the movie. Unc is awesome and peeled back. Uncle Anthony has so many layers to him. Shiloh is like hilariously intimidating, and then Brooke is you. So you have a favorite out of that bunch?
I mean, how could you not love Onk, right?
Yeah, he's so endearing.
Yeah, yeah. Onk's my favorite character. I really like that guy. And Bobby Travato, the actor that played him, I mean, he was perfect for that part, you know. If you meet Bobby in real life, he's nothing like that. So he did a phenomenal
Okay.
job of really embracing that character and bringing him to life.
Well, it was funny because his headshot, when I was looking at all the actors, his headshot has no beard or anything like that. I was like, is that Unc? Because
What's
to me, it feels like my uncle when I'm watching the film.
Yeah, what's crazy is he was actually one of the first people because we did like a nationwide casting call for the film, and he was one of the first people to send in like his headshot and a resume. And I totally overlooked him because, like you're talking about, he doesn't look anything like. And I kind of like knew what I was going for. And man, we got desperate to where I was just going through every single submission, just like, man, I can't, you know what I mean? I have to be very thorough. And then I stumbled on like his sixth picture, fifth picture, something buried in all the other ones where he had like this kind of curlier hair. Like he used it. He was in like a mechanic outfit, a ball cap. And I was like, huh. And I think I even asked him, like, can you grow a beard or something? And he sent me a beard picture. I'm like, dude, yeah, because his audition, once I got his audition, he was great. It was just like, I don't know if you looked the part. So
Right.
yeah, he's like a clean cut guy. Yeah, anyways.
That's great. That's funny to just instantly like, oh, wait a minute, you're Unc. That's exactly what I was
Yeah.
writing this whole time. Cody, I think you had a question about casting with Akira Jackson, right?
Yeah, so she is the only actor that's in both Against the Spread and It Ends. I'm just wondering how the timeline of those two movies worked out. I was assuming that It Ends was shot first and then you went into Against the Spread? Did you cast her off of meeting her, working on it?
Yeah. Yeah. So the funny thing about It Ends, we actually shot that film like 3 different times, right? So we shot it and then, we got together, I think like half a year later, maybe not even half a year later, and did some like extensive pickups. I mean, we reshot quite a bit, and then actually had another set of shoots after Snoot Entertainment came on, and they kind of helped out with getting those last set of shoots done. I want to say, it was the second time we shot It Ends. I reached out to Akira, and I'm just like, because we had spent a lot of time together between those first 2 shoots, and I was like, hey, I think you'd be really good for this part in the film we're gonna do. And had her audition. I think it was, like while we were on set, not, I think it was like in rehearsals or something for the second round of shoots. But anyways, yeah, met her on It Ends, and that's how that all came to be.
And casting her off of It Ends, what was it like working with her on Against the Spread now that you're directing her? What's the dynamic there going from working as someone as a fellow actor to then directing someone in your own movie?
And that's a good question. That's something I haven't really analyzed, but I mean, she's such a pleasure to work with. Like both times, you know what I mean? I look at her like a little sister almost, because I'm actually quite a bit older than her. Like in It Ends, we play like we're close to, I think we're the same age in the film. But I'm quite a bit older than her, you know what I mean? And the first time we shot It Ends, it was like she was right out of high school, I think. She was really young. And then so it's like almost like I saw her like kind of like entering adulthood, I should say. And yeah, she's such a joy to be around. Like as an actor, you know what I mean? She's I don't know. She's she takes direction well, I'll say that. Like, and that's one thing I noticed on it. It's like she did take direction well. You know what I mean? She's very present in the scene. She she takes notes well. And so yeah, I was excited to direct her. And
Right.
she took notes well.
One thing that I always like, and I read a bunch of comic books, and it's like a Denny's Camp quote where he was talking about writing Batman, all the little things he researched to make sure the characters are well informed, right? Uh, I was curious about your nose surgery, how much you read up on that, or how much you figured out about nose surgery through writing Brooke in the film.
A lot. I didn't know anything about like I didn't even know like what rhinoplasty or rhinoplastic surgery was. That's like the technical or scientific medical term or whatever. Yeah, I had to look and see like because the film takes place over like 2 weeks, right? So it's like, okay, what would the nose look like at all these different stages, and trying to keep the continuity of that, and then like realistically, like what would the healing process be going like with like when he's smoking the cigarette, he exhales through the nose and
Right.
all that. So yeah, no, it's like the first. I think you're the first to ask that question, but yeah, it's like you wouldn't believe like all the stuff you end up reading up on just to make sure, like, okay, if somebody's had a nose job and they watch this
Yeah.
movie, they're going to be like, you know,
Right, you wanna bring that authenticity not just out of Florida, but also out of the characters as well, and that's why it feels like he did get a nose job, the little moments add a little bit of levity to that, and I'm sure fun for you to explore throughout the script writing and process. We were joking that you might come on here with the nose surgery and sunglasses to promote the movie.
I'm not that cool, man. I wish I should. I would, yeah, that'd been a really cool idea, actually.
We were thinking what your big, like, Chalamet pulling up in the Marty Supreme outfit or something, like, what would be your character get up? And we were like, he's gonna have the nose cup bandage and sunglasses on.
Damn it. Yeah, next podcast.
Next time, yeah.
Was that character moment or that idea, was it to reference, I mean, did you want to have kind of a Jack Nicholson Chinatown look for the character and then wrote in the idea of him getting a nose job, or was that always part of the script and then it just kind of became that?
Yes, no, that's it. Definitely. I'm glad you mentioned Chinatown. I mean, that was definitely a big inspiration of just like, we don't have any known faces in the film. How can we, stand out? Like, what would be a memorable character trait? And obviously, like something very unique about the face. This case, both nose bandage. No, that was an idea, but studying The Merchant of Venice and just really looking at how vain this character had to be. That was like really why I was like, man, what's something this guy could be really vain about? It's not really a big deal, but is a big deal to him. And I think that was it. Cause like the nose isn't even crazy. If you look at the film, like we purposely didn't want the nose to be too grotesque or just like, deformed or anything. I mean, it's pretty minimal. Um, and that's the whole point. It's just like, this guy's so vain, he can't get, it's like, it's not even a big deal, but to him, it's like everything.
Yeah.
I think speaking about like adding realism or doing a little research, I love the boys got the squirts line that Uncle Anthony's doing his research for high school football. It reminds me of something like Friday Night Lights or even like college football message boards. I'm a big Oregon Ducks fan. We had a wide receiver, Terrence patellar tendon this year, and every week it was like he's practicing, like he's gonna be back this weekend, and all the little whisperings from somebody who's there. But talking about just building off of the football scene, did you pull up to like a local high school football game to film a lot of that? It seemed like it was a pretty good representation of what high school football is.
Yeah, real quick, let me get a drink real quick.
Oh,
Hey.
there you go. Cristobal.
Yeah, so for the football scene, we actually, we had the team after practice one day dress out and actually got like the scenes that we knew we had to have to make the scene flow correctly with blocking and whatnot. But I think we went to, I don't know, I think it was 2 games. So it's like, if you actually, I don't know if you stopped and like actually look at the footage, you can tell like helmets and stuff and pants are changing all over the place.
Okay.
So yeah, those are actually, we got permission from the principal to film when they were regular season football games. So we had permission to use that footage. But yeah, it was the same team that we got the players from for the film that we just pulled up to. I want to say it was the week before or after we shot. We're just like, if you walk around with a camera rig at a football game, everybody just thinks you're with the media. So they just kind of let you do whatever, get wherever, get whatever.
Perfect.
So
Get a highlight
we did that. And then the second time, I think a lot of them probably recognized us from actually shooting with the team, but hopefully we weren't I think they lost that game. Hopefully we didn't distract anybody.
Is JD a good quarterback in real life? Is John David a quarterback?
No, he like plays lacrosse, man. I haven't ever thrown the ball with him. No, I actually met him on Ed Ends too. He actually helped out like crew. I think he was still in high school. Yeah, he was like helping out, trying to get experience. He's actually done some. I think he did a documentary. But yeah, he's like a lacrosse player.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to throw the ball with him and find out though. We never threw the ball on set.
That's great. Oh my gosh.
Do you think you could let us in on some of the things that you learned while making Against the Spread? It's your first feature. So I know filmmakers talk a lot about how every film is a learning experience, maybe none more than your first feature. What were some main things that you maybe didn't expect going into making the movie that you had to adjust to, or just kind of overall stuff you learned while making the film?
So the first thing I learned is like how important a good producer really is, because this was the first, like I said, I'd done shorts up to now and I never really had a designated producer on anything. And Thomas Rondinella came on to this project as the producer. He handled all the production stuff. So I never realized how important it really is and how much you can actually, and now I was acting and directing, so my brain was still split, but I could actually focus on the days I wasn't on screen on actually directing and just really seeing the film and making sure everything was right and everything was going to translate. And I didn't ever have to worry about any of the logistics or anything like that. Tom had all of that handled. So yeah, anybody trying to make their first feature, I would never try to produce it yourself. Definitely have somebody handle that. That's like, looking back, I could have never gotten that made if I had met Tom, I don't think. So that was like number one. And then the other thing is, really, I'll just say, like when we got into post production, like I'm very happy with how things turned out with the deal we got. We did like a one-stop shop type thing, where this company basically handled everything. Like I cut the film together, but then they did everything else, and then we had to redo a lot of it because I don't know if it's incompetence or what, but it never was what we wanted or what we needed really. Especially like color. Like I had to buy DaVinci Resolve and learn how to use colored. I'd cut Premiere like my whole life. I'd never used DaVinci Resolve. I had to like buy the software, and in 4 days I had to learn how to use DaVinci Resolve, color the film. And then by the time I got to the end, I was like kind of all right with it. And then I go back to the beginning. I'm like, okay, so I colored the film twice. I got all the way to the end and then started all the way back over now that I had learned how to use it. Um, but in that instance, I would say like definitely when you're working with people that you don't know or don't have someone that can really vouch for, definitely, especially with post production, get as many reels as you can. Like, because we were sent reels from this company, but I couldn't tell you like where in the hell these reels were from. Like, I don't know if they were actual projects they did or subcontracted out or what, you know what I mean? But next time I'll definitely like, hey, what is that from? And I'm gonna go watch the whole project and see like exactly what they're credited as and make sure, we're not getting inaccurate reels.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite like David Fincher quotes is like, "If film's never done, it's just abandoned."
Hmm.
Is there something as a writer more, there's so much that is, I think it's the point of the movie is that it is unresolved in a way. Um, is there something that you would like to like expand upon or go back or had something more written that just didn't make it into the final cut of the film?
I mean, we were shooting this for almost next to nothing, right? Like, so yeah, I think in the original screenplay, there were probably a lot of scenes that didn't make it. Like, for example, like a little bit more of the backstory between Shiloh and Anthony. Like their early days of their rivalry that date all the way back to high school. I mean, there was just realistically no way we could shoot that for the budget we had. And then, I mean, like I say, most everything that I would like to do differently was like budget constraints with writing. Because
I have a I'm glad you brought up Anthony and Shiloh because that was actually where I was kinda thinking or
Nice.
going with this in my notes. Was there ever a moment where, like, Shiloh and Anthony's rivalry ends with peace or reconciliation? And also, just who fumbled the ball?
Yeah, who fumbled the no, yeah, we didn't shoot that scene, man. I don't know. Sorry, I got a dog. She's in there going crazy at
No
something. She
worries.
barks. She watches TV more than I do, and she barks at every animal that comes on TV.
That's fair.
But with their rivalry, no, I don't think they're no man. So in these small towns, and that's another thing, like keeping authenticity. In these small towns, everybody knows everybody, and nobody ever really leaves and grows and then comes back a different person. So you kind of live in
Right.
that, like whatever your relationship was in high school, you kind of live with for the rest of your lives. So no, I think these guys have like hated each other forever, all the way to the end.
I think we both experienced that, Cody. We got what, 13,000 people for being generous in
Yeah.
Ketchikan, so holding on to a lot of everything matters here. It's, everything's happening and nothing's happening at the same time.
Right. I mean, I love where I live, but yeah, I mean, it's a small town and it's just a different way of life. You know what I mean? Like I say, that was important to kind of show that in the film.
Absolutely.
There's certainly some violence in the movie. But one thing I noticed, especially on the second viewing, it never really came to me the first time when I saw it in St. Augustine, but there were no guns in the movie. Was that
Yeah.
a choice from you, or was that a budgetary thing, or what's the deal with that?
Both. Both. That's like a rule. Like they say, like everything I saw before I made that, like the number one rule of making your first feature film is like, you cannot afford guns, don't show guns, and if you go back to the following Chris Nolan, he did that. You know what I mean? I think his weapon's like a hammer in the film. So definitely drew a lot of inspiration from that and just, sticking by that rule of no. And it's honestly like I come from the world of DIY. Like I didn't go to film school or anything. I came up on YouTube. So we definitely used guns and prop guns, never real guns and had a lot of luck. But with something like this, with where you have actual crew members and it's not just you and your buddies like we did, yeah, there was taking no chances.
I'm glad you learned that lesson because I never did. I tried doing a James Bond film, like, my junior
Oh,
year of high school, and I was like, "Yeah, I can make it work," and I'm glad you learned that because I never will and never did, but I'm glad that's something that you took with you into this film because I think it actually works to the film's advantage in a way. When the plot twist comes in, I don't know if we wanna get into spoilers, it hits like a truck when the plot
yeah.
twist does come in.
It
Uh,
does.
was that something that you were just so excited to film? Or when you write that moment, was that just an exciting moment for you to be like, "Yes, this is exactly what needs to drop your jaw?"
Yeah. Man, it was like when I wrote that, it was like, oh, that's gonna be cool. But you know what's crazy? Like until we screened that film for the first time, I never understood just how big of a moment that is in the film. Like I knew it was gonna be like, oh, that's the haha, like and whatever. We actually did test shots for it before we did the feature, like the DP&I, and just to make sure the special effect would work. And I mean, even then, I was like, dude, I can't wait to shoot this.
Oh,
Dante,
that's great.
Do you have anything else on Against the Spread before we move on to It Ends here?
No, I had such a great time with it, man. It's so cool to see. You know, we had a friend who grew up here who just made his first feature film after making years of shorts. It's just so cool because it's like filmmaking in its purest form, and that's
Yeah,
just always so fun as an audience member because it's really is like for the love of the game, and I always love watching films that are just starts to something great.
dude, I love to hear that, man. Yeah, it was a really green crew, man. It was a lot of people and a lot of passion and a little bit of money.
Hell yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's also like that's why I go to film festivals too. You know, that's why I like smaller festivals like the St. Augustine Film Festival because you never know what you're gonna find there. Like, and that's kind of how we became acquainted was through that whole experience.
yeah,
I also just happened to be in St. Augustine with my family, and they know I love movies, and this film festival just happened to be going on at the time. So kind of a fun confluence of events, and that's why I love film festivals because you never know kind of what indies you're gonna find there.
I was gonna ask you that. Yeah, so you just happened to be in St. Augustine that weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I was on it.
Wow.
My parents were staying there for the winter, and I was just visiting them. And yeah, a friend of theirs said, "Yeah, we know you like movies, and that the film festival is actually happening." And they had a friend who was like one of the programmers at the film festival, so they were able to kind of get me in there. Yeah, it's just funny how it worked out.
Wow, that's cool, man. Yeah, yeah, okay. I was gonna ask you that. That's cool, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, you know, as I move on in my career as a journalist, I'll be getting more press credentials and being able to like officially attend more festivals and that sort of thing. But it's just fun going as a spectator too, and finding cool indies that you wouldn't have known about otherwise.
For sure, man. For sure.
So we also want to ask you about It Ends too.
Yeah.
Um, so this movie we already mentioned a little bit premiered at South by Southwest. I think it's fair to say that this movie has been more widely seen than Against the Spread.
Oh
Um,
yeah, easily. Easily.
Yeah. How did you come to the project? You're also an actor as well as a filmmaker. So how did you get cast in the role in the first place?
Okay, so back in 2019 when I was doing like student films and everything, trying to get into filmmaking, I met Alex. He was at the Florida State Film um, School, and I'd applied for. He actually did a project outside of the film school. It's just like an independent thing he was doing with some friends, and I found the listing on Backstage, and we started the project, and it was I guess it was late 2019 because it was right before COVID, because COVID actually cut the project short, and then Alex graduated and moved to LA. So we never finished, that. But unbeknownst to me, he was using that footage to kind of pitch It Ends to people out in LA. And it was like 2022. I talked to Alex like twice between 2019 and then, and he just hit me up out of the blue, like, "Hey man, I think I'm gonna make my first feature, and I think I got a role for you." And so he sent me the script and a little bit about the Tyler character, and yeah. And then he actually came back. So I live like outside of Tallahassee, and the film school helped him out with some resources. So they actually went back to Tallahassee. So everybody came from LA back to Tallahassee and shot it. So I was like a local hire at that point. So that probably helped me a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
I think one thing in modern horror, and I think we're getting better at this as consumers and just people that are writing modern horror, is that I hope this is a nice thing to say. The characters aren't dipshits when they're stuck on this road. They very clearly, start to notice they shouldn't switch off the car. They have a plan. They're clocking everything that's going on. They're running. You have the interrogation scene where you guys run out and do that. Was there a lot of talk on set between you guys as actors on what you would do in this situation?
well, funny enough, when we first came in to do the first round of shoots, we were rehearsing for like 2 weeks. And I think the first week was just us talking with Alex about the characters, like if we were in that
Cool.
situation and kind of going through scenarios and then deciding, is it the rat, gorilla, guy gun, or the hawks and all that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, there was a lot of that.
You mentioned that it was shot a couple times. I watched your interview with Collider that you guys did at South by Southwest, where Alex talks about the reshoots and kind of the whole production behind It Ends. What was it like shooting on the volume? I'm really interested in the fact that an indie of this budget was able to shoot on a volume stage. Alex mentioned that it just happened to have been built around the time you were shooting this with in conjunction with Florida State. So what was that like?
Yeah, so and I think that's all thanks to Florida State. Like I say, Alex is alumni. So they helped him out. I think they have like an alumni package that they use to help out. That I'm not familiar with exactly when they built it, but I do know that a lot of what we did was testing a lot of its features out to see like how everything would work. Uh, as an actor, that was great, man, because like, we did actually shoot out in the woods for a lot of the film for probably roughly half. And I mean, it's Florida, I mean, it's hot. So it was nice to be on the volume and be in the air conditioning. Although the air conditioner did break at one point during the film. And my day job was AC for a while, so I was actually to bail us out. So that was pretty cool. But other than that, like with it being air conditioning, man, I mean, it's hard to be, it's hard, especially because the first time we shot it, I think it was October. So wardrobe was kind of built around that, right? Like I'm wearing a fleece jacket. I think Akira has like a flannel on. And so we're all like kind of in long sleeves. And then at one point we're shooting in May, but we're having to wear the same wardrobe. So it's like, oh gosh, so,
I think one thing we both kind of noticed about the film is that it seemed to be, even with the multiple reshoots that you're talking about, everything seemed to be made in sequence almost. Like it pays really good attention to how the film is flowing. The little expo marker that's making marks throughout the van, showing kind of in a weird way, a deterioration of the characters without showing beard growth or that they're getting skinnier or starving or something because they're not in this situation they're in. How much of the film was kind of filmed in sequence, each of those reshoots for you?
dude, it was all over the place. It was all over the place. If you're talking about the marker specifically, that's kudos to Carrie, who was producer of the film, but also kind of acted as like production designer, or maybe even was the official production designer. And every time we would have to reset and there was like a time jump, she would be like running
Oh,
out to the
jeez.
Jeep with the Windex and wiping it off and redoing something in marker. So that's she was really on top of attention to details.
Yeah, the attention to detail is just insane. That's one thing I think we both really noticed throughout the film. There's a dolly zoom shot with you about halfway
Yeah.
into the movie or so that was just felt like it was ripped from something you've seen before, but you've never seen before in the same way,
Yeah.
where it was just like, I've never seen a dolly zoom like this. And it stretches your face out kind of in this weird way
No, it's-
and shows the insanity that your character is kind of going through being stuck on this road. And I think just the little attention to detail throughout was just so much fun to see because you can tell with Against the Spread and also with It Ends, just so much care that went into it, and makes it look like it was made so naturally. And you just said like it wasn't. It was all over the place, and that's cool to hear that the final product seems to be something that is so consistent and attentive to what it's trying to tell you.
Yeah, no, they did. Everybody did such a great job. I mean, that crew is legendary. Like everyone that worked on that film is going to be, working at a high level here soon. I mean, those guys are true
Absolutely.
professionals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually really shocked watching that interview with you guys at Collider that you shot on the volume because I didn't really notice otherwise. You would think an indie kind of this production that maybe there's, green screen on the windows and someone shaking the car, or maybe you're actually in a car driving down the road for some of it. But it's really seamless. So kudos to you guys and everyone on the production team for making that happen.
Yeah. Again, man, you can't like Chris Violet, the gaffer, man. Every time because from being from the other side of the camera too, every time I would walk out there on a new setup and see like what the lighting team had done, it was just like, oh my gosh, man. And a lot of times, like, those really early morning conversation scenes where everything's just real quiet and still and just like feels like you're just waking up. It felt like that, like being in the way it was lit, man. It's just, I don't know. It was so easy to perform because it just, the environment was there, man. Those guys are unreal.
Yeah, the lighting absolutely stands out. Like I think almost every scene is lit incredibly well. There's like really good use of tension with the lighting, like with like the blinker flashing, kind of revealing the people coming out of the woods
Yeah.
in the first,
Yeah.
big scene where that's revealed. Yeah, shout out to the gaffers. I think you also guys said that in the Collider interview too. Like shout out to the gaffers. Like they did an amazing job.
All right. I think everyone knows Chris Violet's the man, so he's always getting shouted at.
That actually goes right into the next question I had for you, which is what did you as a filmmaker take away from the production of It Ends? And what did you learn from that? How did you maybe incorporate it into your own film?
Man, just see him like I say, these guys are true professionals. Seeing them go from like a volume and just kind of like how everything operated on the stage, And then to literally go out in the wilderness and kind of see how they adapted to that and just how you can still make things look good in the woods. I mean, it's just like, yeah, yeah, trust me, I was taking notes.
Yeah, everything had its little character to it. Like it felt like you really were going through the woods, even though there was part of me that thought like, are they just driving on the same stretch of road, not knowing that you were using the volume at the time? But it feels like as you get deeper into the woods, it feels like you're actually going deeper into the woods, even though it's the exact same trees. It feels like in the same way, and that sense of like insanity and ethereal and dreamlike is there throughout the whole movie. I think one thing that I noticed immediately was like a lot of the acting you're doing is in the car and is like we see you right now. Head and shoulders. That's about it. Was that a fun challenge for you to just be wearing everything on your face throughout the film, not being able to act with your body as much?
Yeah, no, it was great for me. They tell me I have really good eyes for camera. I guess like when I look around, it looks good on camera. So they kept saying that. So I was like, hey, cool. Took took a lot of pressure off me, just me being natural, like who I am. Um, but going back to Against the Spread, that's kind of the same way I shot it. Was really tight shot. So
Yeah,
that's when I imagine a film. It's like even if I'm reading a novel or something, I'm always imagining just like like faces like the
a
Safdie
person.
brothers. It's
Yeah.
like how much a face can really do in a film. Um, I love it, man. See, I didn't come from a theater background either. I know like some theater people would probably hate that because they're not able to, you know, um, really make everything like outwards. Man, you can just internalize something and usually it'll play through your eyes. So yeah, it was easy.
Yeah.
Not easy,
Yeah.
but and like this. Yeah, yeah.
The little tells are always fun to see because there's something deep there with your character that you're thinking about. You don't get quite a beat on it throughout the film, and I think that's what's kind of fun is that not much is explained. We know who you are, but we don't know who you are until you're in that car. But by your little expressions or reactions to things people are saying, we get little bits of your character and kind of feeds into why you might be the first one to drop out of the Jeep in that case.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mitchell, as a filmmaker, did you have any other jobs on set on It Ends besides just acting?
No, no, all the actors were just actors. No, no. Well,
Besides the
I
AC.
was I was yeah, the AC, and then I was an extra
Oh,
sometimes,
okay.
but I don't think you'll ever see me.
Well, how long did you shoot on the film? Because you're only in about the first half, and then your character eventually gives up. So, what was your schedule like? How many days did you do versus the rest of the crew?
I mean, it was so like the actual duration, I think like a lot of times like Faye was working on another project that he had to fly back to LA for, so they wanted to shoot him out. So I was actually there on the last day most of the time. But so far as actual days, man, it was weird because sometimes, the morning we would shoot some scenes and then by afternoon I'd be out or something like that. There were not that many days that I actually wasn't there. And then like when we would have to travel to go shoot all the exteriors, I think there would be like one day usually when we went down there that I would be holding, at the Airbnb or whatever while everyone else was shooting. But it wasn't as much as you would think.
So we both just kind of talked about your character being the first to exit the Jeep and let the woods surround him. Would you kind of view that as like giving up or giving in, or do you have like a theory as to why kind of your character might have been the first one to exit? Do you have anything in your background that maybe thinks this is why Tyler chose to do this?
Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, so when I first read the script, I was looking at it literally, and so I had like one
Right.
one view, and now I look at it metaphorically, and there's like this entirely other view. You know what I mean? So I guess it depends on how you look at it. I'll tell you when I first read the script, I'm like, oh, this dude got off. He got off, man. He just kept walking until he found a way out. So yeah.
I think it's a good trick that the movie does is like you can watch it just to watch it, and you can watch it and think like this is a metaphor for growing up and the people you leave behind and the road that never does end and just it's about the journey, the people that go along with you. I think it's a fun trick that the movie plays on us just throughout of thinking that maybe there is a way off this road at the very end. Maybe James is onto something. Maybe you do just need to drive all the way to the end of it. There's a scene where it rains on him and you're thinking, maybe it is something different. And you're kind of going a bit insane along with them if you're looking for deeper meaning too. And I just thought it was such a fun watch because of that, and it's something that conducts itself to rewatches through that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Mitchell, if you're stuck on the road, what are you doing? Are you giving up at a certain point, or are you the guy that like needs to push on to the end to try to find some meaning?
Dude, it's hard to say because if I have a cell phone, man, I'm good on about a 6-hour car trip. Beyond that, I'm probably getting out, man. I'm not sitting in a car.
What's they pick like one song a day to play. If you had one song that you could listen to a day on a road trip around this in this situation, what would it be?
Dude, it's funny. I just had one. Hold on a second. Oh shit, my phone's right here. Man, I actually we did an interview and I was just trying to shout my guys in social burn. Um, damn it, I had one the other day, dude. And I'm drawing a blank here. It was like, oh, you know what? I know exactly what it was, man. It was Songbird by Oasis.
Oh,
Okay.
Oasis shout out. Thank you, Mitchell.
Cody
I know
loves
I liked
Oasis,
you.
yeah.
I know I liked
It
you.
was Songbird, and it's like 2 minutes. And I remember thinking that as soon as I heard it, I'm like, dude, this is the song, man. This is like you get such a good feeling that it's 2 minutes and 7 seconds. So I was like, damn, man, like, do you go with a longer song or you just listen to this on repeat for like 4 minutes or what? I don't know.
I think it is a really good detail, though, Dante. You mentioned that they only listen to the song one time a day because if you listen to it too much, you're going to get sick of it and kind of go insane. Or at least that was my reading on it, too. Maybe they did listen to it more throughout the day, but I also was thinking the same thing there.
I like to get more into hypotheticals again, Mitchell, with this situation. I was thinking, I was talking to Cody. If you put 4 other people in this car, it's a whole different situation. That's what's fun about the movie as well is you can place yourself in it, but then you think, I thought of like, if I'm in this car with Cody, what are we doing? If you could put yourself in this car with either 3 legendary actors or 3 of your favorite characters, who would it be in the car with you?
Characters, as in like a movie character.
Movie character, book
Anything,
character,
yeah.
no rules. We're not writing a book on it. No worries.
Dude. So we'll probably go. So we'll take Cheech and Chong,
Nice.
and
Okay.
then dude, we'll bring Heath Ledger's Joker with us, man. We'll have a
Just
good
for
old time,
fun.
man.
Yeah, I'll spice it up.
Just to throw a wild card in there.
You
Love
could
it.
reenact the Hit Me scene with Heath Ledger's Joker too with the car. That'd be great.
I don't know what Cheech and Chong are doing, man. They're chilling.
I can think of one thing they might be doing.
Yeah.
Mitchell, I got just a couple more questions for you. With It Ends, we mentioned that this movie, it's fair to say that it's been more widely seen. I think it's gotten more fanfare than your film Against the Spread. Has the, I guess, success, the kind of people seeing It Ends, has that given you a boost as a career in your career as a filmmaker? Have you gotten some more juice off of that?
Yeah, I think so, man. I mean, it definitely helps having these because so like right now I've got a film written and we're trying to go into pre-production with. It's definitely all the like conversation we're having right now. That momentum is certainly helping, even though it's on the other side of the camera. I mean, it's still helping out. So yeah, it's definitely more fuel. And then I think there is like a little bit of translation or like overflow from It Ends to Against the Spread, just because like Akira and myself.
Mhm.
Like if anybody looks at our IMDb's and sees that, then anyways.
It's all about credits at this point, right? Just
Yeah,
building your resumes and building a body of work to show people for future things, right?
for sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like Akira, she got repped off of that film. You know what I mean? She's like, she got a manager and agent now from the film. So yeah, I mean, it's, things are trending upward for I think everybody's career from this.
That's
I think
awesome.
it's pretty fun because going through all the Letterboxd and IMDb credits, it's like nobody on this film has more than 5 films tied to them officially.
Yeah, I know.
So
That's a good
that's
point,
so
man.
exciting. In both films, Against the Spread and It Ends, I was like, nobody's been in anything more than 5. That was the number I kept capping at. Is that like a fun, palpable energy that you build off of knowing that this is the start of something big?
Dude, I mean, you're kind of intimidating me, man. I hadn't thought about it like that. But yeah, no, 5, that's crazy. So, yeah, I like to think that this is just the beginning. You know, there is
Absolutely,
like
dude.
this thing there that it's like, man, is this where we burn out? You know what I mean? Burn out here, and so like, hopefully, it keeps going upward. But that is something you always think about. Like, damn, this could be like as big as it gets. You know, so
No,
Yeah,
you didn't come this far just to come this far, man. No worries.
I
And
hope
you
not.
got on our podcast, that's a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
thing too. Right?
Um, we are always interested in the influences, the films and filmmakers that kind of get people into this in the first place. You mentioned Nolan, you mentioned the Safdies. Those are three guys that Dante and I absolutely adore. Who are some filmmakers that kind of got you into, or films that got you into wanting to pursue this as a career?
Yeah, so I mean, like obviously Tarantino, and then like Coppola, like what those gangster films from the early days are really like what kind of put in middle schooler me's mind, like, dude, like, oh, that's what a director does. Like that would be really cool to do, what I mean? Just write movies and make movies. Um, so obviously, Tarantino. But then like so far as I've kind of got more into film and started like studying it seriously as a filmmaker, like some of my biggest influences here, like Jeff Nichols, obvious like, Mud and the Bike Riders.
Yeah.
He's just such a he's one of the few filmmakers I think that can make a Southern film and it's pretty authentic. You know what I mean? He grew up in Arkansas, he gets it. And then like I said, the Safdies, I love that just crazy kinetic energy their films like have. So I try to bring that. Although I've seen films that are like bringing too much of the sap, and it's like, hey, that's the sassy thing.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
But I try to take a piece of that. And then Will Friedkin, like
Of
I
course.
love I could listen to Will Friedkin talk and just like his interviews all day. I think I've listened to every Will Friedkin interview ever of all time. Like the dude is just incredible. I love his approach to filmmaking. I've really tried to adapt like that. Like I have a similar philosophy and I've really just tried to hone it in on like his philosophy. You know what I mean? Like I hate rehearsals as an actor and a filmmaker. I hate rehearsals. I like to just go in there and try to, as long as you talk with your actors about the character and the scene and they understand everything, we're on the same page. Like the performance is going to be there. At rehearsing, I think you lose a lot of magic. There's actually a scene on Against the Spread we rehearsed, and I didn't want to rehearse it. We rehearsed it anyway, and then like we got this laugh, and it was like this authentic laugh from hearing the line for the first time. And I remember being like, "Oh, that's so cool that line later." And then I was pissed because I'm like, "Man, I'm never going to get that laugh again." So, um, anyways, yeah, Will Friedkin, he's the man.
I got to we were kind of talking about beforehand too, and we thought that there was I'm not trying to put your influences on you, but a lot of Coen Brothers influence too through
Oh,
Against the
dude, I
Spread.
can't. Yeah,
A lot.
dude.
Okay, okay, okay. So I
I'm
was
thinking about my next film. It's a lot more like Will Friedkin-ish. And yes, oh my, absolutely. Coen Brothers, man. That's absolutely.
good. I know. So you might have seen the Safdie brothers interview, or Josh Safdie's interview on the Big Picture Pod, where he said he hates when people ask what is next. But now we've been kind of talking about that you have a next project coming up that you're writing, and so I'm really sorry, but I'm going to ask you the question. I think
Dude,
we're both
absolutely.
excited for what's next.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're shifting gears a little bit. It's going to be a horror film, but it's like it's still in the South. It's like going to be in the foothills of the they're going to kill me because people say Appalachian. Well, I think it's Appalachian Mountains. We're going to be in the foothills. Yeah, it's going to be a werewolf flick, man. But we're gonna put our own spin on it. It's not going to be your traditional werewolf. It's less about the monster and more about the monster that you create trying to contain that monster. So
Mm.
Oh, that's so cool. I've been on a binge through video games and horror like YouTube channels, and I just got done like 2 nights ago watching like a hour-long video on the horrors of Appalachia and like Mothman and the conspiracies and people that have
oh
been
my
lost out
gosh.
there. And so I'm already sold. I'm in.
Nice. Well, I'll let you know when it's finished, man. Maybe we'll
Deal.
get to an early screening there to get some feedback.
Yeah,
We'd be
that,
ready
that would be
for it.
awesome. Yeah, we'll have to do a double feature with the new Eggers werewolf movie coming out too, and we can watch those together.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, I mean that's Mitchell. That's really all I've got for you as far as questions go. Thank you so much for like taking the time to be here, talk to us. Dante, do you have anything else?
No, I mean, we talk about it because you're on our podcast, but we really are excited for your future, man. Like it's always fun for us to find somebody to latch onto, and you're one of those people for us now. So we're just super happy to see this Appalachian werewolf horror film coming up and to rewatch It Ends and Against the Spread throughout the years. And hopefully have you on again and make this the start of something really cool. So thank you for providing great art and continuing in the future. We're excited.
Dude, thank you so much for saying that, man. The kind words, they mean a lot. They really do. Thank you guys for having me, man. It's been really cool. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this for over a year, Cody. Glad we made it happen, dude.
I know, I know. I just I remember I asked you if you would do the podcast with us last
Yeah.
year. Full disclosure, we didn't even fully have the podcast going at that point. I was just
Oh,
putting it out
okay.
there, trying to like hope that you would, I could get you in the bag for later. So
You know what's so funny is I mentioned to my mom, I was like telling her I was doing the podcast today. I was like, yeah, I actually met the guy at St. Augustine because that was one of the only festivals my mom's ever been to with me. And she remembered, she's like, you didn't do that already? I'm like, no, it's finally happening now though. But
yeah, no, that was all my fault. Dante and I
you're good,
talked
dude.
about had been talking about doing this for a while. I have a degree in journalism. I've been, doing film criticism on my own for quite a while at this point. So it is like Dante said, it's always really exciting for us to get to talk to a real filmmaker, and someone who really is in the business. I mean, this is the stuff we live for. So thanks again, man.